Hello students, today we are going to continue with our poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender. In the last video, I explained first two stanzas of the poem, and today we are going to do the remaining stanzas. So let's begin with our poem. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes from fog to endless night, on their slag heap these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So, reading the first line, it says, Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example. According to the poet, both Shakespeare and the map are examples of material possessions and riches, pleasures and luxuries. Shakespeare has always written about the elite class people, and the map denotes the vast world out there by getting familiar but getting familiar with the material aspects of life kindle desires in the heart of these children, as there is no chance of their fulfillment. So what they do, they adopt wrong ways. So that's why Shakespeare is wicked and map a bad example for the children living in the narrow cramped holes. So poet has called Shakespeare um, wicked because, as I said, that going through his works will kindle desires in the heart of the slum children, and being unable to fulfill those desires, they adopt wrong means to achieve them, because he has always written about the elite class, the rich people. So obviously these children, they will get tempted to get all those things. Now map is also a bad example because the map shows a world that is beautiful and bright, and in contrast the world for these children is confined to the narrow and dirty streets of the slum. So map is thus a bad example because it confuses them regarding the true picture of the world. Now coming to the second line, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. The ship, sun and love, they symbolize comforts, luxuries, possessions and riches in the material world. They are symbolic of joy and brightness of life, which these children are deprived of. In order to reach out to the world beyond, these children are sometimes tempted to adopt wrong method to get their dreams fulfilled. Next line says, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes. Slyly means secretly, trickily. So the lives of these slum children, they turn and twist in their cramped holes, in their narrow, confined, narrow hutments, from fog to endless night. So the lives of these children, they turn and twist in their cramped holes. Their entire strife and struggle for sustenance goes unnoticed in their small dirty rooms. From fog to endless night. This expression describes the miserable and pathetic lives of the slum children. From foggy mornings till late at nights, these children make desperate attempts to live despite all odds. Their life is full of misery, suffering, and dejection. Uh, they live on and are surrounded by the heap of garbage. It is there in the next line. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass. So these hungry children, They will live in a place that is like a heap of dirt, and they are so thin that it appears as if their bones are peeping through the thin cover of their skin. Slag heap, it refers to a large pile of waste material that remains after metal has been removed from rock, and this dirt and garbage is the world for the slum children who spend their life raking in these slag heaps. If you remember the chapter Lost Spring, where we read about Sahib, he also looked for, you can say, gold or anything else in the garbage. So these children, they also spend their life in raking these heaps of garbage. Then it says that spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. So these children, they wear discarded spectacles that have been coarsely mended. Mended means they have been repaired. The spectacles have been repaired. The glasses of their spectacles look like pieces of broken bottles lying scattered on stones. So, wearing the spectacles of steel, steel is heavy. So, spectacles of heavy frame that is made up of steel, they are wearing with mended glass, with repaired glass. And how that repaired glass look like? It looks like bottle bits on stones. Means when you break a bottle and you see how its pieces they scatter, in the same way their spectacles were looking. All of their time and space are foggy slum. Means the poet says that these children, they are destined to live and die in the slum. So all their time, the foggy slum, it comprised the world for these children. The slums are their only reality, their home where they spend their lifetime. Means whole life is spent in these foggy slum. The time and space, space means the place where they live, it is all their foggy slum. Foggy, as I told you, not clear. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So the poet sees the foggy, filthy slums as big as doom because life here is worse than death. Big as doom. Doom means destruction, disaster. So the life here in this slum, it is just like a disaster. They are massive and stalk the world just like death stalk its victim anytime, anywhere. So what the poet wants to say over here, that it says that when these people are destined to live and die in the slum, then what is the use of keeping the map in the class, the world map, if you remember, which is there in their classroom. So he says that when the lives of these children is limited to these slums, they are confined to these slums, then why that open handed map is kept in the classroom? And it is better to make slum in place of the map, the picture of slum, because they know only slum, they know only that area in which they are living. So why that map has been put in their classroom? Now coming to the next stanza. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break, oh break, open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields, and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open. History theirs whose language is the sun. So in the last stanza, the poet tries to present the solution of the problem presented in the poem. The poet says that when somebody like governor, inspector, or visitor visits the school, the map becomes their window. Means they are taught, but otherwise the windows remain shut upon them, that is, they are not taught, they are not given education. If you see, why to go far away, if you see in what happens in government schools, no proper education, no formal education is given to the children. And if any inspection is there or any person comes to school or any visitor, then they show that the children are being taught, there is formal education going on in the school, in the classroom. So it says when somebody will be there for the supervision, then only the formal education will be given to these children. So he makes a request, or he says that until and unless these people, the governor, the inspector, or any visitor, until and unless these people are going to visit the school, there will not be any proper education in the school. Serious teaching will not go in the school. This map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Catacombs are underground cemetery. So, what it says that, as I said, that the elementary schools, they are poor in infrastructure with hardly any teaching or administrative staff to take care of them. And these schools, they spring into life only when a governor, an inspector, or a visitor comes to visit them. Poet says that this map becomes their window. The map, it becomes their window when the slum children are enabled by the active involvement of the authorities to see the proper education is given to them. uh, and these windows mean the windows of the classroom that are shut upon their lives like catacombs. Means this as I said, that this map, it will become their windows when proper education will be given, otherwise they will remain shut upon them if education is not given to them. So here the poet, he wants them to break all the shackles, to break all the barriers. Break, oh break, open till they break the town. Means the invisible walls of discrimination which is there between the rich and the poor, it should be broken. These children, they should come out of these four walls in which they have been confined. So the poet, he hopes that these children, they would one day break free from the chains of these slums. They will rise above all the atrocities and economic injustices and will create a beautiful world for themselves. So it says, break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sand. So it says that let these children come out of their confinements and fill their town with their presence. The world of nature is for them as well. So they should also be free to enjoy nature, and most importantly, it says na, show the children to green fields, means to let them be free and enjoy the nature, and make their world run azure on gold sand. Run azure on gold sand here means that let these children, they enjoy the uh, natural beauty. They must be given freedom to make their own worlds and experience spontaneous joy like running under the blue sky on golden sand. Means enjoy on beach, on seashore, under the blue sky, on golden sand, because they have been confined into those slums where their narrow streets, they have been sealed with the lead sky. And lead sky, you understood that it is the polluted area. So a poet wants them to enjoy the nature, the beauty under the blue sky, which they have never been able to see or enjoy. Further, he says that let their tongues run naked into books. Let their tongues run naked into books means let these they should be allowed to study and be educated. Uh, Poets strongly feel that the lives of these children will be very miserable and unfulfilled unless they are educated. So he wishes that these children be exposed to the world of books. They should be educated so that they can break themselves from the confines of the slums. So let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open. White and green. White is obviously the education, and green leaves here means the nature. They should be allowed to enjoy nature. Then the last line says, history theirs whose language is the sun. So here he wants to say that only those who can glow like the sun with the light of knowledge can create history. Means the educated people, the people who have knowledge, they can mold, they can create, and they can write history. You know, the uneducated people or the uneducated children, what are they going to do in life? Means how can they change the history? How can they create the history? I mean, the people who are educated and who have wisdom, who have knowledge, only they are able to do something for the world, for the society, for the humanity, and they are remembered. Their name is there in the history. So on the poet here says this only, that history is the language of those, history is theirs whose language is the sun. Sun here means the education, the light of knowledge. So history is made by those people who have light of knowledge, who glow like the sun with the light of knowledge. So uh, in the end, the poet, he says that it is the educated alone who can transform the world. uh, these child, they will be given a chance to uh, be educated. They should be given a chance to change their life, and should be given a chance to explore the world, to see the world, to enjoy the nature, to enjoy the beauty of this world which is given to us by God. He conveys the message of ensuring equality and providing opportunity of growth to the slum children. He wants them to be free of hunger and misery, and urges the administration to take a substantial steps for the welfare of these innocent victims of poverty, and give them a chance to make a mark in history, which can only be done by shining and glowing like the sun. And how can one shine and glow like the sun? Of course, by education. So let these children break themselves free from the shackles of slums, and let them read voraciously, and hope for them uh, that they change their life. Otherwise, the lives of these children will remain dark, narrow, and unfulfilled in the absence of good education. And he also, poet also urges to bridge the social disparities that deny opportunities to these children. So this is the poem about the children living in slum, a poem about an elementary school. Though the poem in the beginning we read that it is the children living in the slums of Austria, but it's the same story everywhere. The children living in slums, whether in India or in any other country, they suffer from the same problems. Now, coming to the questions, let us see Tick the item which best answers the following. The tall girl with her head way down means she is ill and exhausted. The paper seeming boy with rat's eyes means he is thin, hungry, and weak. The stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bones means the boy has an inherited disability. His eyes live in a dream, a squirrel's game in the tree room, and other than this means that the boy is full of hope in the future. The children's faces are compared to rootless weeds. This means they are wasters. What do you think is the color of sour cream? Why do you think the poet has used this expression to describe the classroom walls? The sour cream is yellowish in color, and poet has used the expression to describe the dull, dirty, and pale walls of the classroom in a slum school, and it draws attention to the sad environment that increases the absence of hope surrounding the lives of students. Next question. The walls of the classroom are decorated with the picture of Shakespeare, building with domes, world maps, and beautiful valleys. What do they symbolize? Uh, Shakespeare stands for literary skills. Building with domes symbolize power and wealth. World maps represent the vast areas of opportunities, and beautiful valleys represent the scenic appeal of nature. All these are in sharp contrast to the dreary lives of slum children. Means these children, they are far away from all these things. Their life is very far away from all these beautiful things, from the glitzy life that we are living in, from the velvety world in which we are living. These children, they are very far away from all these beautiful things. Next, what does poet want to be want for the children of the slums? How can their lives be made to change? Poet here wants that the slum children should be rid of their dull and dreary routine. They should be provided opportunities to experience the beauty of the world outside their slums. They should live life in the lap of nature, discover its joy, and accumulate the wealth of knowledge. Means they should be given a chance to get educated, to uh, get formal education. So, with this, I come to an end of this poem. I hope you have understood it. For any query, call me in the group. Thank you.